Thursday morning on Good Morning Anambra on ABS. My name is Ajuluchuku Okabwe, and in the studio this morning we have a guest that will be talking on the topic we have this morning, and the topic is centered about, how patriotic are you when we talk about reducing corruption in Nigeria? How feasible, how possible is it? We're not known to be the corrupt, let's say, capital of the world, but then at the same time, now that things seems to be going out of, we are nosediving into the word corruption, what are the fundamental things that we need to do in order to take us out of this doldrum? Because the corruption saga in this part of the world is alarming. What is the root cause? How can we get to sort this corruption thing? Well, bring it to the barest minimum, or at least take it away from our system completely. Well, in the studio this morning, we'll have Mr. Paulson Okeke, who is a public affairs analyst, who will be talking into the root cause of corruption in Nigeria and how feasible it is to see the end of corruption in Nigeria. Mr. Paulson, it's always a pleasure having you around this lovely morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, corruption is more like synonymous to the name Nigeria. In the Justice Index of the world, Nigeria is ranked 120 out of 140 countries that were run in a survey, and making us understand that in the past 60 years since independence, Nigeria has lost over $550 billion to corruption. Recently, from 2021 to date, $750 million. Just EFCC alone accounted for such humongous misappropriation of money. This is money that were collected from public officers. A person, how did we even get to this level? Let's even get to the root cause before we begin to say the norm now, and then before we can begin to talk about getting a cure to this.
In trying to get to the root cause of corruption, we have to first of all think about what is corruption. Then, how do we get into it? Because corruption is just, as you could explain, is trying to be dishonest, trying to do what is not in consonance with the law, especially with people who are privileged to be in public offices. Corruption is a criminal offense because it's a criminal way of circumventing the law just for personal gains or organizational gains. That is it. Then you ask, how did we get into it? We got into corruption because of greed. Individual greed, corporate greed. That is how we got into corruption. Achoba maafe juna, like Igbos will say. But then it is bad, because by all indication, in all facets of opinion, it is criminality. That is it. So corruption is an act of criminality of people who are privileged to be in positions of authority, to mismanage what is in their position. Corruption could also be seen in the way we do things, trying to personalize things that is meant for the general, ensuring nepotism, favoritism. Just because my brother is there, you corrupt the process to favor your brother. We are not only talking about corruption in monetary terms. We talk about corruption in the way we do other things. So long as we do things that are not in consonance with the law, that did not follow the laid down procedure, it is corruption. If I'm in a position of authority and there's another position that says this position is on merit, but I have to skew it to favor a particular person. It is corruption. So that's why I said we should not be talking about corruption in monetary terms.
Now, when you're talking about corruption, in my own understanding, no person drops from the sky to assume political offices. I believe that we all have the beginning, which is the family, and then we belong to some religious sect, be it Muslim or be it Christian. So there is this nuclear thing of a family where we all grew up, and then we have our dad, we have our mom, then we have the teachers in our school and everything. But when you talk about the larger scale of what corruption seems to be in Nigeria, it's like the foundation has been totally eroded and nothing seems to be happening. Because you see kids this day, as in teenagers, aspiring for things that ordinarily parents should be doing for them. So my question is, when you talk about corruption on the larger scale of Nigeria, would you say that parents of this generation, in fact, let's say from the 70s, 80s, have gradually begun to fail in their responsibilities based on no stiff penalties for criminality, be it at public places, be it at schools, be it even at home?
Yeah. Don't forget what the Igbos used to say. What am I saying? Like you said, in a family. Yeah. When we start from the family we are living and the parents are not doing things the way things should be done, the children will be learning. Either the father engages in act that is so inimical to the family, especially the children, who should be watching the father and the mother, learning from them. And the parents engage in corrupt practices. The children obviously will be learning. And when they grow up, come to the larger society, they begin to exhibit those things they learn from home. That is why sociology said that the family is the first point of interaction of any human being, the family. So whatever you learn in the family, that is what you are going to show outside. It's obvious.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're telling us that now the way Nigeria is fashioned now is based on what families represent, is what we are seeing on a larger scale?
No, it's not just that. Most of the time, there are families that grew up or train their children in virtue. But when they come out to the larger society, societal influence and official influence gets them, and it begins to work on them and change their mindset and attitude. There are what we call attitudinal changes. The attitudinal changes comes from what we learn in the larger society. Otherwise, when you are interacting and so on, you see the way things are done. And you may see yourself as, I'm not going to be a lone person, because you cannot influence the society. And it comes to what they say, if you cannot beat them, join them.
Well, we've seen in larger societies where more developed societies where we see stiff penalties being given as a sign of deterrence to public office holders. But that doesn't seem to be the case in Nigeria. So will you say that our government seems to be lenient when it has to do with punishment of key office holders in meting out what is actually due to them, so as to serve as a deterrent to others that want to assume such
Sincerely, I must tell you, Nigerian government here treats corruption with kids' gloves. And that is why corruption continues to abate. In China and Indonesia and some other Asian countries, if you are found corrupt, they kill the person straight away. You understand? Whether you're a former president or be you who, the moment there's a corruption case against
after
you,
investigation,
and it is proven, and it is proven that indeed you squandered public fund, they will kill the person.
What?
So that it will serve as deterrent
to
any other person. That is the practice. But here in Nigeria, because the leaders are the ones who are involved in corruption. So they cannot, because the moment they will be prosecuting the person, the other people there will be pressure. Drop those charges. How can you say that our former presidents, none of them, has ever faced corruption charges? But you will see their deputies. It happened during Shagari. Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari was protected. But L.S. Ekweme, who was his vice, was prosecuted and imprisoned. So that is it.
Let's go for a break now. We'll come back and then continue with this program, because it seems to be talking about the root cause of corruption in Nigeria and how we can, to the barest minimum, bring it down to a low level. Don't go anywhere. Good morning, Anambra returns shortly.
Great news for Anambra Broadcasting Service ABS audience. You can now watch ABS television through any of these ways.
Buy a terrestrial antenna and connect to your television. Search ABS Channel 24 Oka or ABS Channel 27 Onitsha. Install StarTimes cable decoder and search ABS Channel 113. Install Metro Digital cable decoder and search ABS Channel 29.
Watch ABS TV on your smart TV or smartphone by downloading Anambra Broadcasting Service app on Google Play Store. Also watch via ABS Facebook page at ABS Radio Television and ABS YouTube page at ABS Television Oka.
ABS TV is now also on satellite. You can watch us from anywhere in Nigeria and other African countries. Simply install our TV decoder brand and tune to channel 315, or install any free-to-air satellite decoder and search for ABS TV.
Whichever option you choose, stay abreast of breaking news, documentaries, children's shows, talk shows, comedy, sports, movies, and lots more on your darling TV station.
For adverts and program sponsorship, contact 0803-388-8526 or 0806-883-9902. ABS, Heartbeat of the East.
By Ifechukwu Dan Jacob, a public affairs analyst and a legal practitioner. Good morning, Ifechukwu.
Good morning, President.
You're welcome. We are talking about Nigeria and what is endemic to us, which is corruption. And we are asking before you join the show, the root cause of corruption and if there is any light at the end of the tunnel to see the end of it. In your own opinion?
Well, in my own opinion, I believe seeing the light at the end of it depends on Nigerians. Nobody will come from anywhere to come and fight our own fight for us. Nigerians need to rise up, the citizens. We should not play along with these politicians anymore. They have destroyed the foundation of this country. And if we allow them further, they will finish this country through corruption. They don't care about what happened to Nigerians and all their interests. They care about themselves and their family. Look at the policies here, and look at the common thing we have, the oil. We can't enjoy it because of corruption. So the issue of having the light at the end of the tunnel depends on us. Why I say that it depends on us, that we need to rise up to challenge certain issues. We should stop ethnicity in this country. If somebody is corrupt and engage in corrupt activities, Nigerians should use in one voice, condemn it, and fight to return. You know that there's a place for a law that says nobody should be allowed to benefit from his or her own wrong. Because we have allowed our past leaders to benefit from their own wrongs, others were encouraged. But if we dealt with those that have actually perpetuated corruption in this country, recover to the last kobo what they obtained through corrupt practices and return it back to public coffer. Others will be, I don't know, again, engaging in this. There will be a game, effort in fertility, because there's nothing that will come out of it at the end of the day. But since we have allowed them and their generation to enjoy state funds, others will even do worse than them.
Well, now coming to let me take it from where you said that the masses need to rise up. The masses, now coming to you personally, these same masses are the ones even sabotaging facilities, government. painstakingly use our taxpayers' money to install, to build, and even to maintain. And you see masses vandalizing such things. In the dailies, we've had 12 grid collapses. You understand? Within the space of 3 months, 12 grid collapses. In fact, we've had 6 in the last 24 days. And these things, as reported by the Ministry of Power, says that these are true vandalization, and these are being perpetrated by Nigerians. There are so many areas where you see Nigerians, the so-called citizens, that should rise up to the corrupt leaders vandalizing things and making things a whole lot difficult for us. Now, when you want to balance what the leaders are doing and then the destruction, the masses with the number are doing.
I beg to differ with you. It's not the masses. It's some disgruntled elements within the masses.
Yes.
Some criminals. Because we're still
talking
about
when you say the Nigerian
masses encompass a lot of people.
We're talking about the Nigerian masses.
My present.
There are some of them, like you said, disgruntled elements. So those disgruntled elements don't see the need to preserve government installations for the betterment of everybody.
Let me shock you. One thing you should know, people that are buying those things from them, are they not Nigerians? The issue of electricity equipment and those grid collapse, ordinary person cannot sell a single thing from those items. Those contractors that build those things, there are the people that are buying it back, and they now reward the contract to them. They will still use the same facilities to go back and make money. So it's still, let me tell you, it's a very serious chain. Because if those boys don't have where to sell, and we have registered electricity contractors, we have satisfied markets. If we have satisfied markets, where will you sell those items?
Where will you tell them you acquire it from?
Where will you use them at your own home? Can you export them? If not, because people that are involved in the contract still go behind and supply and take back through those nonsense they call bandit and vandalize, and still supply back. They say that they awarded the contract to the state of reconstruct. So corruption is from.
That is one aspect. You talk about oil theft, illegal bunkering. These are Nigerians perpetrating the act of national treasure to their own selfish interests. Every now and then you hear about government trying to clamp them down. I'm not speaking for the side of government doing well, but I'm telling you that this whole thing that we are trying to fight here, we have a role to play. We really have a role for government to play.
In as much as we have a role to play. But then, government should provide the leadership. Government should, some leaders, because they in government are the ones who, in one way or the other, are encouraging all these things that are happening. How? Through their policies. When we have weak institutions that is not ready to tackle problems on its head first of all, what do you expect? Then the larger is just like the normal saying that when the head is bad, the whole part of the body is bad. When we have a head that is very bad, the whole part of the body cannot function. And it streams down to the whole, to all other aspects of the society. That we have corruption at the head, then those at the center and at the last rung of it will be doing as they like because the head is bad. And the head does not have the moral justification to start punishing. And that is a problem. Until we have such a system, a punishment measure that will affect both the head and the tail.
Across board. Across
board. But what we do in this country is that we are always pretentious. That we are doing it, while we do nothing. Like my colleague here mentioned oil theft. Who are those perpetrating oil theft?
The Niger Delta militants. That dropped weapons.
Then, and the other Nigerians, who are the owners of those ships? Is it me? Or how can a ship come into Nigerian waters and and they get loaded with our crude oil and left without the knowledge of security. A ship is not a car, and it's not a keke.
And not only that, you cannot sell crude oil on your own without having access to international market.
Of course. And there's no way a ship can come into this country without the Navy knowing. Of course, there's this maritime instrument that any ship that comes into Nigerian waters, territorial waters,
They must know.
you must know. So, and you cannot tell me that all these ships will come into Nigerian waters and it will not be dictated.
And when they
eventually
they pretend they caught one, instead of prosecuting and seizing the ship, they burn. What is purpose? It's not to destroy evidence.
Of course. So that is where that corruption we are talking about. Because before that ship comes in, those who are supposed to know have been compromised, and the ship will come in and go. So that is corruption.
That is corruption. We see it every day, we feel it every day, but nobody seems to be happy about it, because when you leave the shores of Nigeria, like people that have traveled, they said the treatment Nigerians get meted, you understand, at other immigration quarters, it's sometimes embarrassing. Yes. While others will be allowed, the moment you just flash your passport, some people are subdued to rigors of test, search, and the rest of it all. So now, the image is not just only being suffered within the shores of Nigeria. It has been taken elsewhere. We've had countries ban Nigerians from coming into their countries. We've had cases of people going for a pilgrimage, having drugs and the rest of it all. So our actions are no longer comfortable with us there, but it is smearing our image in bad light. Now, coming to you, Don Jacob, what do you do? What do you think Nigeria can do to begin to correct our international image before other League of Nations?
Well, we'll have to start from home to clean up. If you don't start from the head of the stream, to clear the mess, you cannot get it right downstream. Nigeria, the leaders, first and foremost, should start to do the right thing. We should start to punish people that are wrong. There must be consequence for actions. Consequences for any action somebody engaging in this country. If we fail to do that, corruption will not stop. We are having nations like China today. They have zero tolerance to corruption. America don't have zero tolerance, but at least their institutions are very strong. They have strong institutions that help to fight back against corruption. Do you get the point? But in Nigeria, we don't have zero tolerance to corruption. We don't have strong institutions. We must start somewhere. First and foremost.
We don't have strong institutions, but we have a constitution.
We don't have
the constitution is what is.
Without strong institutions, who will make the constitution to work? The constitution enforce itself. Okay, go about. So security agencies in Nigeria today, they're interested in their pocket. I'm sorry to do that. If you conduct investigation now, many security men that work in Niger Delta are billionaires. Where do they get the money? Conduct investigation. Many security men, top officers that work in Niger Delta region, they are billionaires. Where do they get the money? Even if you calculate what they have in their coffers and their investment, even if you calculate years of their service and the last payment they have at the senior officers, they can't account for what they have. So first and foremost, we must start with microeconomic check. We should encourage investors with right attitude to investment, with career conscience, that don't have issue of corrupt practices. Government should start to encourage them so that we have role models. The children will emulate it. Look, go to the younger ones today. If they ask some of them, what will you do? Say, I want to be a Yahoo boy. Because they have seen some young men going about in the street with flashy cars. When they inquire what they're doing, they buy drinks. Maybe they are made. They're there now. You don't understand what's going on. come, let me introduce you to the business that we give you the same money. Maybe that one we are obliged and going. The other person will join. We have role models. Without good role models, the foundation of the society will destroy. So we can get it right from home first. When we clean our image inside, then the outside world will see us and start to respect us. No matter the kind of campaign, no matter the kind of information, propaganda we sponsor to clean image of Nigeria abroad, without proper cleansing here in Nigeria, it will not work.
Is it just like we were discussing? Corruption destroyed this country. So much so that it made Nigerians to be fleeing the country. Because the money meant for general good is being pocketed by one or two individuals. Okay, take for instance, just a couple of days ago, former Governor Kowa of Delta State was being arraigned by EFCC for mismanaging 1.3 trillion naira. Allegedly. Yeah. No, for allegedly 1.3 trillion. You now ask yourself, 1.3 trillion.
What is he doing with it?
What is he doing with it? Now you look at Yaya Bello, former governor of Kogi State. He's always on the run. That wild lion, like he called himself, is now running for the chicken. Now, 74 billion naira. Then you think about former accountant general of the Federation, who squandered 92 billion. So what are these people doing with all this money? Is this money, if you plow it back into the country, can't it take us somewhere? But all these things are happening in this country because we don't have a strong institution to fight corruption.
Well,
and that is it.
We'll come to that. Let's know what our street parliamentarians are saying about the fight of corruption in Nigeria. Let them make their own contributions and see if through them we definitely might have a solution to these issues that we are battling and grappling with. Don't go anywhere. The show continues shortly after this little break.
Found guilty of corruption can actually be punished. You understand? They can actually be punished by the law. Just take an example of EFCC. Those involved in money laundering are actually punished, and the EFCC follows them up to the latest. So I think there should be non-corruption agencies that should be in charge of corruption, yes, to punish the offenders.
I feel like corruption is deeply rooted in the fabric of Nigerians, starting from the family, everything. And I think people only call it corruption when it does not favor them. When it favors them, they call it grace. You only complain when your own person is not in government. Do you understand? But if I have somebody in government, it doesn't concern me. Do you understand? So I don't think corruption in Nigeria, but I think corruption can be managed if there is like a very serious offense for corruption. Like in China, like if you are caught, or if you have any corruption charges, I think it's life imprisonment or something, or death. I'm not sure, but I think when they start taking serious penalties for corruption, the corruption can reduce, but it cannot be eradicated. I don't think it's possible. Human beings are corrupt, like it's our nature, so it can be reduced, but it cannot be eradicated.
I think the change should start from every one of us. That is just it. It's something we all created, so we should come together to also eradicate it. So I'm very sure about that. If you are determined to do something, definitely it will be done. Change is the only thing that is constant. So corruption is not constant. It can be changed.
It can be reduced now if government desire to make it possible. Because everything is at the hand of government. That's the game there. They should implement law, serious law against every person that are, penetrating or doing, such a thing that is not good, such a crime or something like this, cultists and so on and so forth.
Back, we're happy to hear from our street parliamentarians, and every person living in Nigeria definitely knows the impact of corruption, the negative impact corruption is telling on everybody. Dan Jacob.
The only thing we can do now is to start to enforce our laws to the letter. have strong institutions to enforce it. Not selective enforcement like what we are doing today. All this issue of fighting corruption, when they see you as a perceived enemy, they go after you. But when they go for corrupt people in the sense, then you know that you are fighting corruption, but not using government apparatus to fight enemies in the name of fighting corruption. It cannot work. When we are sincere, even if we appoint me as a AFCC chairman, and I find out that you are corrupt, I will go after you. And nobody will fight me back. These two other institutions that are supposed to protect me will protect me. You know, we have started to fight.
Quickly, as we round up, please, what do you think Nigeria and Nigerians can do in order to nip corruption at the board?
The same thing we are saying here. Build strong institutions. That's the same thing. That's the catchphrase.
Protect people that are fighting.
So that's the catch. Build strong institutions. Let people who have the interest of this country at heart
take positions.
Take positions.
The people that have the interest of the country at heart, where are they going to be found? Is it written on their forehead?
They are this country,
by
but they don't
policies,
have opportunity to come up.
Let me tell you, if you make a policy that will make government unattractive to people that don't have interest, then you know people that have interest. Like issue now we raise. Forcing people, if you want to lead, if you know that to a patriotic Nigeria, bring your children home from primary school.
What of children that are citizens of other countries?
Then if you have dual citizens, let me tell you.
No, I mean your own children. Maybe your children are
they should not, you yourself forget about it.
So will you deprive your children of their own citizens?
No, but you yourself, you have lost your interest for making your children to be a citizen of other countries.
You cannot have a dual citizenship and be in a leadership position in this country.
It's not possible.
Because your loyalty must be aligned.
They are divided now.
Otherwise, you are working on divided loyalty, which does not take one.
Talking about the children is what I'm saying. We have
even if your children are there, which means the policies are there. If your children cannot come home, you lose it because you have joint interest with your family.
Well, that's the much we can take. Too much. Talking about Nigeria, as a patriotic Nigerian, I'm always keen and interested. But then it worries me so much when corruption will be the thing that we should be talking about on how to see an end to. But then, like we always say, once there is life, there is hope. And we believe that come one day we'll have a leader that will know the interests of Nigeria solely lies in Nigerians and not for his own personal gain. I want to thank my analyst this lovely morning that we're here to delve on the issue and then see us through, starting with Paul Sinokeke. Thank you so much for being here, public affairs analyst.
Thank you very much.
And also Ifechukwu Dan Jacob, a legal practitioner. Thank you so much for availing us the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much, presenter. Thank you, viewers, for giving us your time.
And to you, viewer out there watching us, please play your role in making Nigeria a better place. Try as much as you can to fight corruption in your own little way, in your own comfort zone. My name is still Ajulu Chukwu Okabwe. Tomorrow, we'll definitely get to do it again.